I mentioned it at the end of the last show. The Primos saw some value in Liga MX teams playing effective home games against bad MLS teams. Well, let me tell you what some of those Liga MX teams did. Pumas didn't start Memote, didn't start Chino Huerta, didn't start Quispe. Now, they had to bring all those guys on pretty quickly because things went south in a hurry against Austin. Chivas didn't start Piojo Alvarado, didn't start Chicharito, their best player and their biggest star. And both of those teams didn't get the job done. And if the teams aren't taking it seriously, Herc, what about, to what your point is about the Mexican press, what they're saying about it? Christian Martinoli is a name that folks who follow Mexican soccer will know, a very famous broadcaster. He was, I think, doing the Austin game. He called it the Chimichanga Cup, Herc. And while that is a great line, it was actually not his most devastating line. He said that this tournament was a commercial disguised as sport, which is really true and I think more damning than the Chimichanga Cup, though that's the one that grabs the headlines. And so I think when the teams are sending that message and the media is sending that message, it's no surprise that the fans are kind of responding to that message. You saw some of the attendances. Credit to the crowd in San Jose, right? But that's a Chivas crowd, those 50,000. Look at the crowd in Orlando. Nobody there. Look at the crowd for Atlanta, DC United, New England, Mazatlan. Atlanta and New England, these are massive NFL stadiums with a couple thousand people in them, Herc. I mean, it's a really, really bad look for the league. And that's just the big stadiums. The small stadiums were empty too. I'm sure you saw St. Louis, which is kind of the center of this boycott where fans are boycotting Leagues Cup in support of the Open Cup. But I don't think as much as we care about the Open Cup on this show, I don't think it's the Open Cup boycott that is keeping these seats empty, right? There's a genuine lack of interest in this tournament, Herc, and I think it's only going to get worse. I'm sure you saw this, I think because I put it in the group chat. DC United has had to reschedule their Leagues Cup game against Santos because Audi Field is not fit to be played. Guess where they're moving the game? They're moving the game to Philadelphia, where Philly and Charlotte just played a game. And Dean Smith, the manager of Charlotte, came out of that game complaining about how bad the field is in Philadelphia. And that's where they're going, looking for a better field. So this tournament, for all the things we talk about, American soccer infrastructure and stadiums, is really starting to fall apart. And I just want people to remember that the next time Don Garber, U.S. Soccer Board of Directors member Don Garber, opens his mouth about the U.S. Open Cup and the quality of that competition, just remember how Leagues Cup has empty stadiums and is falling apart at the seams. They can't even get a facility that's functional for DC United to play in, Herc. For all we talk about Leagues Cup, look at it, 4 days in, and you can already see it coming apart at the seams.
Okay, I'll start pieces. You mentioned some of these Liga MX teams not taking this seriously, and you gave an example of Pumas versus Austin. Memote and Cesar Huerta came back from the national team. Actually, they came back, the All-Star game, I should say, and they came back late. They came back around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening the previous day, and their coach said he couldn't start them. It was his decision. They weren't integrated on time. The next game, Chivas, you mentioned Piojo Alvarado, and you mentioned Chicharito. Gago had mentioned both were muscular issues. Chicharito, precaution. They wanted to save him for the Galaxy game. You mentioned the fields. You're right about the fields. And this is nothing new to actually American just stadiums in general when it comes to this sport. Come summertime, there's always an issue. I don't care who plays. Major League Soccer, Liga MX, European teams, Copa America, we've seen it. There is a major issue, and this is probably the only country in the world where there are multifunctional stadiums that are always in use. Whether it's there's no excuse for that. There should be no excuse for that, and I'm not making an excuse. You're right about that. And the last thing, the Open Cup. Man, here's an issue right here, okay? I am nobody to tell anybody to go or not to go. If you want to go enjoy Leagues Cup, go and enjoy it. I'll watch them. I'll watch these games if I'm available at home and I have the time. I'll put it on. And I'm not going to watch a Mazatlan versus New England. Forgive me, New England. Forgive me, Mazatlan. That's not my bag. But I will enjoy Pumas versus Austin. I will enjoy Portland versus León. Full house, by the way. I will enjoy LAFC versus Cholos. Full house again, by the way. But when you bring the Open Cup, if you're going to bring the Open Cup, at least bring it to this limelight with a bit of seriousness. And I say this to everybody. If you complain about the Open Cup, you better damn well have been to an Open Cup game recently. You better damn well have supported your local club, whether that's USL, amateur, or whatever the case may be. Because if you're one of these idiots just arguing to argue on Twitter, you're not doing any good. So if we talk about the Open Cup, we talk about boycotting, let's not only boycott, but put it into action. Actually go and support these teams. Go and support them so it's properly funded and funneled through the Open Cup. Do some good. And that's all I'm going to say to these people.
All right. Yeah. Turn your boycott dollars towards the Open Cup. Support something while you're maybe taken away from something else. Quick word on our boy.